our channel. So in previous sessions we are discussing about the different control structures, control statements in a Python. So among that we have seen three categories. One is sequential control statements, decision control statements and iterative control statements. So among these three we have already seen for the first two things, that is the sequential control flow and the decision control statements. So in this session let us have a look on the third one, that is iterative control statements. See, before going to the iterative control statements, first we have to know which statements we call it as an iterative control statements. So whenever a block of statements are used to execute repeatedly for a number of times, that we call it as an iterative statements. Right? So for each time of execution we call it as an iteration. So for example, if some set of statements need to be executed 10 times, so that we call it as a 10 iterations. So every time we call it as an iteration. So 10 iterations. And then, so before going to that, we have to take care about the three things. One is loop variable, initialization, second one condition for termination, third one updation of loop variable. So we have to take care about these three things. So before starting the loop we have to initialize one variable, and the second one is at particular time the loop should be terminated, that means for getting the finite number of iterations. So if you fail to write this condition, it will go to the infinite loop, so that loop will not terminate, so it will continuously, the number of iterations will be increased. Next, updation of loop variable. So we need to, for every iteration we need to update this loop variable. So based upon this loop variable we have to write the condition, right? So these three things we have to take care about these in iterative statements. So there are two types of iterative statements. One is while loop. So these iterative statements we call it as in loops, right? While loop and for loop. So in C language there is another loop, that is a do while loop. Here there is no chance of third one, only two categories are there, one is while loop and for loop. So let us see one by one. See, coming to the while loop. So as we have discussed in the previous session, so here the block of statements will not be represented in between these curly braces, and for every header if you include the colon as a suffix, automatically the indentation will be applied and the cursor will leave 4 spaces on the left side, and the control will start, the cursor will start from 5th space. That implies, this alignment implies these are the some set of statements which are represented for this particular header. That header may be if else or while or do while, anything, right? So all the statements which are represented by using this indentation will represent a block of statement, right? So instead of using these curly braces we will use this indentation, alignment, right? Now let us see the syntax for this. Syntax for while loop: while condition colon, automatically we have to write from here. Statement 1, statement 2, and so on. So this may be a single statement or multiple statements. So this alignment, so we can see this alignment represents the block of while loop. So that means until this condition becomes false, all these set of statements which are aligned will be executed repeatedly. So immediately after the condition fails, automatically the control will come out from the loop. That means the next statement after the while should be aligned from here itself. See this alignment. So all these alignments will comes under block of while loop, and whatever the statement we are writing which is equal for this while alignment, that will be the sequential execution. That means this will be executed after the condition becomes false, right? So this is a simple syntax for while loop. So let us see the example. See, this is a comment in Python. Print n natural numbers. Right? Now, for this first we have to read the n value. So n is equal to int of input enter n value so n will be having one value. Now initialize the loop variable, let it be I is equal to 0. This is a loop variable. So we have to remember loop variable initialization, next condition for termination, next updation. Now this is a loop variable while I less than or equal to n. So this is a condition where we have to stop. What we have to do? Print I is equal to I plus 1. Right? So we can write here print end of loop. See, this statement implies, so this is the first one, loop variable initialization. This one is the condition, so where we have to stop. This one is the updation. Right? So here, so in Python there is a no increment and decrement operators. So we have to replace those increment and decrement operators by using this augmented assignment, or simply we can use this assignment operator and arithmetic operator. So I is equal to I plus 1. We have to write it like this. So we should not write as I plus plus because there is no increment and decrement operators in Python. Right? So see, first n value. So let it be n's value is equal to 5. Now I is equal to 0. I less than or equal to 5. 0 less than or equal to 5. True. Print I. So print I means 0 will be printed. I is equal to I plus 1. So I is equal to 1. N is equal to 5. 1 less than or equal to 5. Print I. So 1 will be printed. N is equal to 5. I is equal to I plus 1. So 2. 2 less than or equal to 5. True. 2 will be printed. 3 will be printed. 4 will be printed. After that I is equal to 5. So here we have written 5 less than or equal to 5. This is also true, 5 will be printed. Again I is equal to I plus 1. Now I is equal to 6. So 6 less than or equal to 5, here the condition false. So automatically the result will be 0 to n. Right? From 0, starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So if you initialize this 0 with 1, so here the display will be from 1 to 5. So hope you understood this simple thing. So while loop, so in this while loop we have to follow all these three things. Right? Now let us move on to the second one, that is for loop. For loop. So here also we have to initialize the variable, condition and updation, but in a different manner. So here we will write for I in sequence. So this sequence can be a tuple or a list or a dictionary or a range. So this sequence can be anything. So either it can be a list, tuple, dictionary or range. So I will be followed with all the values in this given range or in given dictionary or given tuple or given list. So all these four are the sequential data types. So that means these are the data types which will accept the sequence of elements with the different data types. Right? So let us see this range. So afterwards, in the coming topics, we will move for these three: list, tuple, and dictionary. Now let us stick on to this range. See, I in range. Now let us see the syntax for this range. So range start, stop, step size. So there are three arguments involved in this range function. So here we have to give the start value from where I will be included. Next, we have to give the stop value where the I should be end. This is the end value. Start value, end value. And this step size is the difference between the first iteration element and the next iteration element. So this is nothing but our updation, right? So this is a loop variable. We are initializing. This is the initialization. So start. So starting value. Stop. Where to stop? This is the condition itself. Here itself is the condition. So this stop element is the last element. And step size is difference between the first iteration and second iteration. That means updation. And the start, if you mention the start, that is well and good. And if you are not mentioning the start will be always 0 by default. That means I value in range function always starts from 0. And this step size, here also it's an optional thing. This should be mentioned by the programmer. If programmer doesn't specify this step size, the default value is 1. The default value is 1. That means just an increment. So if the I value in the first iteration is 0, then in the immediate next iteration the I value will be 1. In the next iteration I value will be 2. That means the difference will be 1. So if this step size is not mentioned by the programmer. And stop must be mentioned by the programmer itself. So if the programmer mentioned n, the last element will be n minus 1. Right? So if n is the last element, n is a stop element, end element, the value is n minus 1 will be the last element. So it will not include this value, n value. So that means simply a range of 0, n, 1. This implies 0 to n minus 1 with unit difference. Right? From 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, n minus 1. This function. Or else. Simply we can mention only range value, range of n. This implies 0 to n minus 1 with unit difference. Because here we are not mentioning the start, we are not mentioning the step size. So here whatever we are mentioning is the last size. So if there is only one argument, that argument is automatically the stop element, that is the end element. So end element, if end element is n, the last element will be n minus 1. So I will be iterated from 0. Here there is no start. So automatically by default it will take as 0, and here no step size. So automatically it will take it as 1 as a difference. Now let us see. Hope you understood this range. Let us see. So range n, or simply range 5. Sorry, let us write the syntax first and then we will move on to the program. I in sequence colon, automatically the indentation will be applied. Statement 1, statement 2 and so on. So this is a simple syntax for loop. Now let us see an example by using sequence as a range. So we need not initialize this I before starting the for loop, because loop variable initialization, condition and updation, everything we are writing in the range function itself. Range of m, range of 5 colon print I. So here only one argument is there, so that argument is the end element. So by default it will be I value will be 0 and the last element will be 4. So first element and this is the last element, and the difference is 1 because there is no mentioning of step size. So the output for this one is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's it. Because we are giving 5, so 4, up to 4 it will be printed. Now if we mention here the step size from 1 to 5, that implies the first argument will automatically consider it as a start element and 5 as a end element. So by default the last element step size is 1. So the output for this one is always start from 1, so starting element 1, right? If you are not mentioned here 1, it will be take it as a 0. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? Next, if you mention here 2, that means start is 1, last element is 5 minus 1, 4, and the difference is 2. Now output for this one is first start 1, 2 difference 3, 2 difference 5. So 5 is not included because the last element is 5 and only 4 is the last element. So 1 and 3 is the output for this. And simply if you write here start from 5, 0, minus 1, right? So this is simple output. It will start from 5, minus 1 we are giving. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and 0. 0 also will be printed. Next, so if you use here 2, minus 2, automatically 5, 3, 1. This is the output for this thing. So we can write ascending in an ascending order or a descending order. So this implies the updation. This implies the condition. That means the range is nothing but a condition. This is the initialization. Right? Start, stop and difference. So this is a simple example for using this for loop. It's very simple when compared to our C language. Right? So in C language we have to use 3 terms in the for loop. First initialization, condition and updation, and then a block of statements. So here just we can mention it, all these 3 things in a single function. That is a range with the 3 arguments. First one is starting element and the last element, I mean stop element, and then with a difference, that means a step size. So this is a very simple thing. So these 2 comes under our iterative control statements. So hope you understood this simple iterative statements. If you really understood my videos, like my videos, and if you are having any doubts regarding this iterative control statements, feel free to post your doubts in the comment section so that I will definitely try to clarify all your doubts. And share my sessions with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. So thanks for listening and watching. Thank you very much.